Alright, so I am here on my Skyblock world. I have just created this generator system, so let me go set it up. The buy system is the same as usual to actually buy the gens. This is not changed from how it was before. So the buy system does not change if you want to use this system. The only thing that might change when it comes to the buy is the blocks, the names, and the actual type of entity. In this case, I've added that. You might not use that. Let me head over to my island. Alright. This is the command block list and entity list block generator system. It does not have any loaded entities constantly. The only time that any entities are loaded is, of course, when you actually break the block, because that spawns an item. And then that's somewhat how the system registers. So let me go ahead and place my generators here. I've got the 4 stands I'm going to place them on, so let me go ahead and place down the dirt. Dirt is placed. Gravel. Here's sand. Here's red sand. So I will now break the block. Does a little cool animation, and then replaces it. Just to prove that this system doesn't mess with anything else. If I were to go ahead and place blocks around here, doesn't do anything. Place blocks on top of it, doesn't do anything. Or to place a block below it, doesn't do anything. I don't know if I would be able to. Hold on. Yeah. Alright. So yeah. Has a bit of sound effects, it has a little animation that plays, it does have a delay. That's just because I added in a delay because of the animation. You can, of course, change that as much as you like. Essentially, what it does is, completely underneath all of these generators is a string of wool, 9 blocks tall, that indicates the type of generator, so essentially what block it is, and its Y value. And it uses that to go ahead and determine where to place the block and what type of block it is. The initial system is started using the dirt entity that is dropped by the block. This, of course, is a guaranteed entity for any mining of a block, therefore it's still considered entityless, because there's not any entities being loaded constantly. Just to prove that, I'll go ahead and I'll do such kill at E, OM equals 1, comma, R equals 500. You'll see, only thing that was killed is bone meal. So, and the actual effects and whatnot, as well as placing of the generator and reading the string below it, that is all done using an armor stand, which is summoned by this dirt item, and then reads the information, compares and contrasts compared to the dirt. All of that is the exact same for each generator. That's all automatic. You don't have to change any of that if you were to add in or change a generator or anything like that. The bottom 3 wool is, let me go ahead and show you. Alright, let me get out a glowstone block, that way you can see. Alright, the bottom 3 is the block type, so dirt is just the default, so it is white wool 3 times. And then this 3 white wool here is for other things which Skygens or Skyblocks or prisons might want to do, such as maybe you have an upgrade system, like how I will implement later, or maybe you want to add in some kind of multiplication system, or maybe you have custom items that interact with the generator differently, in which you need more valuables and more variables that you need to read and whatnot. You can go ahead and use these 3 wool, and then this would be the Y level, so light gray is 1, black I believe is, oh wait, no, this is regular gray, so gray is 2, black is 3, orange is 5, so this is 235, which is, oh wait, no, not, orange wool is not 5, I think it's 6, isn't it? Yeah, it's 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My bad. So yeah, and then it places deep slate, or reinforced deep slate, to replace the deep slate down here. Again, depending on the wool that you use, that might change. Let me go ahead and teleport back up. Now, the reason as to why it needs that is if I were to go ahead and place down a dirt here, as you can see, it just pops out like usual with its little vector and whatnot. But if I place it here, you'll see it aligns. That's because it's checking underneath to see if there's deep slate within a 3x3 radius of it. So here it would be touching this, which means that there's deep slate. And it knows that it's a valid generator block because dirt is a generator, as you can see. So then it goes ahead and it checks, hey, is there wool underneath me? If there is wool directly underneath it, then it will spawn in the armor stand that does the reading of the variables and try and figure out if it's actually a generator. If not, that's when it goes ahead and it says, on second thought, I don't exist. I'm not going to do any of the other checks. For any dirt that does not fail, that fails that initial check of being within a 3x3 radius of a generator, literally none of the commands run. The very first check within every single command will go ahead and fail. I think this is part of my testing, so that's why this is within a 3x3. But over here, this is inside of a 3x3. Of course, this will be, and this is the same for all of them. Let me bring you over to the ticking area. The system is right here. These are non-activated, I was just using these. Same with this. Of course, I only had 60 blocks of height to work with just because of how I set up my ticking area. If you were to start this at negative 64, this would not loop around at all. It might loop around once, but that's it. So it's not that hard to edit. If you had a function file, of course, that would make it 30 times more easy. And because of recursive functions, it would actually make it way smaller. It'd only be like 1/10 this size. But a lot of this is just using base 10 to read the wool. So if it goes ahead and it reads this first one, this is 0. This would be considered as 1. This is 10, 11. So this is 11. And then this is 111. And then 999 would be this. So it uses base 10 to go ahead and figure out the variables. The only hard-coded things per gen is based on the item of the generator, so in this case dirt. This has a value of 0, and then since it has a value of 0, it goes ahead and you have to set its value to 0, as well as the actual set block itself, which is obvious. And those are the only two things for the replacing. For the setup, immediately after doing the bat, the only two things that you have to do is set the wool, and then also do the set block again. So 4 command blocks total to go ahead and add in a new generator out of the like 400, 500 here. So not bad at all. I will probably make this public once I refine it a little bit and turn it into a function file, and also probably a structure block file as well for people who don't want to use functions. But for right now, I'm still refining the system. I'll also add in reading the upgrades, the 3 extra wool. I don't have that set in yet because I'm not using upgrades right this second, but that is simply as easy as the rest of this, like the Y value reading. It won't make it too much longer. Theoretically, the system could do everything that you could do if you were to use an entity, and it can do even more if you were to use a simple /set block using a repeating. So, just the only difference is there's no permanent entities being loaded, and the entities that are loaded are only there for 1 tick. Also, I will go ahead and demonstrate this. So let me go ahead and load in another sand generator. I actually haven't tested this, so let's hope that this works first try. If I want to go ahead and do this, please work. Yeah, you can stack 8 generators on top of each other. I'm pretty sure if I... Okay, well that's just because sand is affected by gravity. If I were to go ahead and place it back up here, it'll... Yeah. That's just because of how sand works. Maybe sand wasn't the best... Okay, well, all the ones I immediately had available were all gravity blocks, but point is, you can place generators on top of each other and they will still work perfectly fine. I can't break the dirt now because this is affected by gravity. All you would have to do is just make sure that sand gets teleported to the same block over and over again. That would be the simple and easy way to fix this. So, yeah. The play sound as well is just added in. There's a couple of things which I've added in which are not necessary if you were to go ahead and use this. But overall, that's it. Took me around about a week to do some theorizing and a couple of hours to put together with only a couple of bugs, just mostly typos that I missed.